First of all, I know what you're thinking. Why no Chess.com shirt? Why? Because Chewbacca's the man. That's why. Right? Only Star Wars character with any integrity. Or at least the only one that George Lucas wasn't able to screw up. Let's see what we can do here. This is a little tricky. We are on Friday, which means the puzzles are difficult. But it has to be something to take advantage of the dark squares. There's obviously some communication issues here. The queen can't move off of f8 because of check-a-Ruski, followed by checkmate. That's it. Got it. Bishop e6. Cutting off the communication with the queen and the bishop. If he had taken it, queen f8 was mate. And now that opens up the diagonal. And wait, I guess that's it. Just a two-mover. Normally Friday's more moves than two moves, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's not difficult. This is obviously a little more tricky than positions with a lot of obvious forcing checks and captures, right? But the recognition in terms of what's weak in your opponent's position and the critical thinking process we need to go through to solve these positions correctly and to improve our chess muscles, that's why we're doing this, right? Not just for kicks and gigs, is to recognize immediately what's weak about your opponent's position. We recognize the king in a precarious spot, the dark squares, and you look at what's going on as far as the communication of the pieces, and what I saw immediately was that if queen takes e6, I have queen f8 check, queen to g8, queen f6 check, queen g7, and we have mate. So that made me realize we have an overloaded piece. And this all happened, yes, in about 5 seconds, right? You're welcome. But that's what chess is. You immediately start recognizing the patterns, and you solve them faster and faster. So bishop e6 is played because we have an immediate threat, taking the bishop. The other issue is that this bishop is pinned. It's not obviously pinned to a piece as we normally think about it, but it's actually pinned to a square, which is the threat of, again, accessing the first weakness we recognized, aka the dark squares. So you're building your chess muscles, and this is a pattern. You can think about it as a pattern in your thought process as much as memorizing strategical formations and tactical patterns. There is a pattern to a successful thought process, which is what is weak in my opponent's position, checks, captures, hanging pieces. We talked about that, the hierarchy of moves that should be considered. And that doesn't mean that every grandmaster sits down and goes, now what checks should I consider and what pieces are hanging and this and that. But it's something they're doing subconsciously all the time, which is why those power moves, those tempo moves are never missed. So you're considering weaknesses followed by checks, captures, queen attacks. That makes you realize what pieces are stuck, what pieces are vulnerable. And from there, you consider candidate moves. What's weak about my opponent's position? What's weak about my position? Especially if you think it's one where you may not even be playing for a win, like a draw. I'm giving you just general chess advice right now. Where are the power moves? Checks, captures, hanging pieces. And now let's consider candidate moves. That's the system. Don't forget who got you here, Han Solo. All right? It wasn't Princess Leia. Only character with any integrity, Chewbacca. You're welcome. I apologize for the bad Chewbacca impression. See me around on Chess.com, and I'll probably see you around because I do have a camera looking at your computer right now.